Hello snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to review the United Shapes Deep Reach, part of their Explorer series of boards. The Deep Reach comes in at a 159. This board features a mellow camber with a lifted nose, aka directional cam rocker. So you have camber and then rocker in the nose. So when you weight the board, it lifts it up, giving it better float in powder, but still that snap and pop of traditional camber underfoot. I rode this board at Copper Mountain after a snowstorm, so there was pockets of knee-deep snow, and if you got in the trees, it was still pretty good. But the groomers were perfect corduroy, there was bluebird skies, colder temps, and I used my K2 Indy bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. I'm sorry that I don't have the board here for the actual review, but I had to give it back to the shop that I demoed it from, the Underground here in Breckenridge. So if you're ever in Breckenridge and you want to demo a United Shapes board, swing into the Underground on Main Street. This board has around a middle of the road directional flex. You got a little bit of a softer nose, and then it stiffens up through the tail with a fair amount of torsional flex, but not an overabundance of it. It really is one of those flexes that really is playful when you try to drive it, and you can twist and flex the board how you want. Now, this board is heavy when you pick it up. That was the first thing I noticed, was that it was actually kind of heavy, which surprised me knowing the factory that it comes out of. And it was a damp ride, but it wasn't dead. It did a great job of absorbing the micro vibrations, but the board never just felt like it was lifeless. It was actually really lively and playful. So while it would absorb chatter, it still wasn't dead, and you still kind of had to work for it to drive this board the way you wanted. Pow butters on the tip of this thing were amazing, but you have to know where the sweet spot is and how to leverage your weight way out on it. Once you do, you're golden. It's one of those boards that you can really get out on, and it takes a lot before the rebound kicks in and it wants to snap you back around. On the tail, a little bit more effort, you're set back, it's a little bit stiffer, takes a bit more work, but it's still really, really solid. This board is dialed for turning. You want to rip a carve? Go for it. You want to just do a tight, quick turn? Go for it. It's got enough play torsionally so you can steer it with minimal effort, or you can really rail a turn. It's basically a board that you can carve with and still play around on the mountain with. This board is definitely for someone that's going to carve the shit out of a groomer, send a side hit, and then slash a pow line. It's a fun, free-ridey deck. This board is playful where you want it, but smooth and stable where you need it. And if you're not really familiar with Copper Mountain, depending on how the wind blows, you can get weird wind lips or heavier snow. So you have to know where you're going to get the goods. And that's what I did on this day. I got it into some heavier wind-loaded snow and then some tight trees, and it held its own through all of it. It never really disappointed. The only thing I could say is that maybe I would bump down to the next size lower in the Explorer series for trees, but that's just me personally. Comparable boards, the Capita Navigator, the Rome Blur, the Ride Berserker could kind of be on that list if you really wanted to. I'd even say the Jones Hovercraft or Mind Expander are right up there with it. Probably more the Mind Expander than the Hovercraft, but both of those boards are still kind of comparable to it. This has been my review of the United Shapes Deep Reach. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation. I want to hear about your guys' experience with the Deep Reach. After you do that, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not going to miss any of the video content we've got coming out for you. And believe me, we've got a lot of content coming out for you. And if you'd really like to support us, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you about it here, but there's a video over there that'll do it for you. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.